Theme 5 from the Artisan teacher is overt responses. Overt responses are going to deal specifically with the ability of the teacher to regularly obtain evidence of student learning for the purpose of determining the next steps for teaching. If we just do a quick review of what we've learned so far, we know that everything needs to be tied to our standards. Once we've developed our priority and supporting standards, then we can align our instruction to those standards, create our essential learnings based on those standards, create pre-test for those standards, and now our formative assessments will be tied to those standards. The one thing I really want to point out, though, is that in our overt learning, we're looking for visible learning. What can we actually see? So here are some of the success principles for overt responses. First and foremost, all students are required to respond. Nobody can opt out. This is really important. So it's best to do it in a manner that is manageable. Next, is it gathered during instruction? This isn't an entrance or an exit ticket. There's a time and a place for those when you're checking, remembering prior knowledge or kind of summing up for the day. But in this case, we want something that is during instruction. Also, in your overt responses, is it visible and is it countable? Can you see it? Can you count it? And the fourth thing is, are these responses planned into the instruction? I think this is my favorite part of teaching, is actually coming up with ways to gather overt responses within instruction. And here are just some examples of how to do it. Like, students can have individual whiteboards or write on wipe-off pads. And they could write down their answers with their own marker and then erase it. This could be done in the middle of instruction. And then you could also create a Google form and put it on Chromebook and in their Google Classroom and say, hey, now that we've covered this much, let's go and complete this Google form. You could also use plickers. Plickers are handheld. Every student's assigned one. They would keep it. And then you would use your cell phone or another device to collect those responses. Sticky note responses. Everybody stop, grab a sticky note, have the sticky notes already on their desk, and have them write the response. You could also use some digital resources like Nearpod, Kahoot, Quizlet, or Quizzes to gather these overt responses. But I would remind you that this is a check of learning within instruction. So if you're going to use some digital resources, keep it to a minimum how many questions you're going to ask. So this is theme 4, overt responses.